of the Lord is in this place. Let us pray. So coming into our hearts, we feel the deep gratitude of the sanctuary which holds us. We feel the gratitude now at this time of Samhain, All Souls Day, Halloween. We feel the movement of all the generations moving back and forth through the portals of the divine. And we remember that there's only one of us. We don't die. We live in spirit forever. And this precious moment that we have right now, we feel our bodies, we feel our hearts, we feel the energy flowing of love that is our birthright. And this place that holds us, this community that so divinely and preciously is the cradle that launches us into the understanding that we are the ones we are waiting for. And this is the time to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for this day. Thank you, hallelujah. Woo-hoo! Thank you for this day.
Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day.
Join us.
Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day.
Beautiful day.
This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day.
This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day.
This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit.
Thank you for my friends.
Thank you for my friends, Spirit.
My wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends.
My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for my help, Spirit. Thank you for my help. Thank you for my help, Spirit. Thank you for my help. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful help. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful help.
I want to say thank you.
For this day,
Thank you.
I want to say thank you. Oh, thank you.
Everybody, thank you. Say thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
So
thank
grateful.
you.
Oh,
So
so
grateful.
grateful. I'm so
So grateful
for you.
And thank you.
All of us.
And thank you, thank you, thank you. I say thank you. Bring it into your hearts. Thank you.
Thank you.
I say thank you, God, for all the blessings. Thank you.
I'm grateful. So grateful.
So grateful.
So grateful.
So grateful.
So grateful.
So grateful.
Oh, so grateful.
Grateful. Well, we're going to have some more fun, which we love to have, because we are a church of celebration, by the way.
It shrunk.
You shrunk. Honey, I shrunk my guitar.
In honor of Halloween, I shrunk the guitar. I left
He
it out
put
in the rain.
He put it in the dryer.
Every time I feel this way, this old familiar sinking, I will lay my troubles down by the water, where the river will never run dry. Hallelujah. I'm gonna let myself be lifted. I'm gonna let myself be lifted. I'm gonna let myself be lifted by and by. I will lay my troubles down by the water, where the river will never run dry. Oh, it's been said, and I do believe, as you ask, so shall you receive. So take from me this trouble, bring me sweet release, where the river will never run dry. Hallelujah. I'm gonna let myself be lifted. I'm gonna let myself be lifted by and by. Lay my trouble down by the water, where the river will never run dry. Take it down. There is a river in this heart of hearts, with a knowingness of my highest good. I am willing, I will do my part, where the river will never run dry. Hallelujah. Myself be hallelujah. I'm gonna let myself be hallelujah. Myself be lifted by and by. Lay my troubles down by the water, where the river will never run dry. Let's do that again. I'm gonna let myself be lifted. I'm gonna let myself be hallelujah. I'm gonna let myself be lifted by and by. I will lay my troubles down by the water, where the river will never run dry. Where the river will never run dry. Where the river will never run Thank you, Brian. You may be seated. And we welcome Michelle.
Good morning. Welcome to Unity on the River. So glad to have you all here. And let's say hi to all the people Zooming and streaming. Oh, let me take my mask off here for a second. It starts to feel like an appendage after a while. So glad to have you all here today. Is there anyone joining us for the first time this morning? Okay, well, we're all at home, then that's great. So join me in reading our mission and vision statement together. Our mission: we are a vibrant spiritual community that celebrates the presence in all and welcomes humanity to its divinity. And our vision: centered in love, we joyously co-create a world of oneness, peace, and harmony. Awesome.
Yes, indeed.
Now, okay, more songs. Great.
Oh my goodness. So this was requested. And do you want to say something, Holly?
I'd just like to devote this song to Lisa Palazzi, who's home now and recovering. Love you, Lisa.
No, if I were brave. Yes, if I were brave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is your holiness. It's dedicated to you, Lisa, as well.
Got to do namaste.
Namaste.
Yes,
That is
sorry,
namaste,
just getting
your
back in the
holiness.
swing. So if you'd like to turn and greet your neighbors with a hug or just a hi,
Oh, there it is.
feel great. Feel welcome to do that.
Blesses the word.
Your holiness blesses the world. The light in you is blessing everyone around. The place on which you stand is holy ground. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you for being here. The light in you extends beyond the farthest star. I salute the holy child of God that you are. Your holiness blesses the world. Holiness blesses the world. The love in you is blessing everyone around. The place on which you stand is holy ground.
So thank you.
So thank you for being here. Everyone. Thank you for being here.
The light in you extends beyond.
The light in you extends beyond the farthest star. I salute the holy child of God that you are.
Bless, bless. Yay. So now that we are brave, and we know that brave people make mistakes and twist things, and it's all perfect in God's eyes, isn't it? It's all perfect. Yes. It's a beautiful song by Janet Stanfield. 1, 2, 3, 4. What would I do if I knew that I could not fail? If I believed with the wind really fill up my sail, how far would I go? What could I achieve? Trusting the hero in me. If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge, where fools and dreamers dare to tread. I'd never lose faith, even when losing my way. What steps would I take today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What if we're all meant to do what we secretly dream? What would you ask if you knew you could have anything? Like the mighty oak sleeps in the heart of a sea, there are miracles in you and me. never lose faith, even when losing my way. What steps would I take today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? Do today.
If I were brave,
What would I do today?
if I were brave,
What would I do today?
if I were brave,
If I refuse to listen to that voice of fear, will the voice of courage whisper in my ear? I am brave enough to move ahead where true believers dare to tread and never lose faith, even when losing my way. What steps will I take today? I am brave. What I do today, I am brave. What I do today,
I am
what
brave,
I do today,
I am brave, I am brave.
I am brave.
I'm delighted to welcome our speaker today, live and in person. We have Cyndi Swall back in the house. Yay! We've known Cyndi a long time. She was a tremendous help to us during the phase of Shipley's retirement, and she's been with us all along, guiding us and helping us. And the title of her talk today is The Gift of Halloween. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. So please help me welcome Cyndi Swall.
Thank you, honey. Good morning. It's good to be home. Thank you. Woo. I did not see that coming. Okay. I don't know why I didn't, but thank you. So if we could just now, as we just like move into our time of meditation, I'd like you to just make sure you don't have anything on your lap. Just get comfortable. Oh, we're going to do a talk first, aren't we? Is this today the day of like moving stuff around? Okay. What I really like to do is an interpretive dance. So there'll be no talk today. Yeah. What am I? Yeah, insane. Okay. Anyway, thank you guys so much for coming out on this magnificent day. It's been raining buckets since I've got here, and I've been here for a couple of days, but it's just been really lovely to actually see this beautiful area and the fall foliage and all of your faces here this morning, so thank you. So remember way back when Halloween was like that one day designated a year for being scary? It was like, that was what it was designed for, right? But it just so happens in the last couple of years, it feels like we like awaken every morning with this whole new level of terrifying. Whatever, we just don't know what it's gonna be. You know, what are they, man-eating locusts or whatever's coming up next, but so in reality, when we start thinking about like all of the things that we have designated for the fear has really come from like something external, something outside of us. So when we look at the media and the medical industry and the government and all of our lovely friends and family who mean so well, who are just like bombarding and pumping our psyche and our newsfeed with all of this really negative, scary stuff. Have you noticed that? And as a result, it just like sits in our subconscious and just rots there like compost, right? And so we can't shake it, we can't get rid of it. And so it's not to imply that there aren't scary things out there, that there aren't real threats. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I do think it's important for us to take a look at, you know, the distractions that we have that are really causing us to face our true fears are the things that have been coming up for us for a really long time. Do we have any fans of haunted houses? So you think about it, like when you go through a haunted house, when you first go through a haunted house, the scariest part of a haunted house is not like the ghosts and the blood and the chainsaws. Like, what's the scariest part about a haunted house? It's not the unknown, right? It's the fact that we're going to have to respond to something that we didn't know was coming. That's really what the scariest part. And so it's really interesting when we move into that, because what happens is with higher levels of uncertainty come high levels of anxiety. Anxiety is always about future threat. It's always about what we think is going to happen. I think it was Mark Twain that said, you know, I've had a lot of really terrible things in my lifetime, some of which actually happened. So, like what we run through our heads all the time over and over and over again. So the more uncertain we feel, the higher our level of anxiety. And the reason that that's dangerous for us is because it skews our perception of how things really are. It heightens our awareness and our fear factor to where we get to the point where we're not doing a very good job of risk threat assessment to determine what is the real damage being done here. And as a result of that, we live our lives for the most part as if every decision we make, everything that's happening is a life or death decision. And when we come from that heightened state of anxiety, then we're not really stopping to ask ourselves the question, what's the real impact here? Like, what happens if I do this? Or what happens if I don't do this, right? So what's the real impact? So we're not doing a really good job of assessing that. And so but here's another really interesting study in human behavior. So like when we go into a haunted house, when you go to a haunted house in the first place, intellectually, we know that we are perfectly safe, right? We know that. You pay the money and you walk into this place knowing that you're not going to get hurt. Yet, however, you actually enter that situation with a very heightened sense of anxiety. It's like, seriously, your blood pressure goes up, stress hormones kick in. You know, all of these things are happening because you are walking into this scenario because you're not really sure what's going to happen next. But we know that we're safe, which is what's really interesting is that we're in there, we're looking for trouble, right? We've looked for trouble. And when you're looking for trouble, I know some of you adrenaline junkies, Mark Snyder, that some of you adrenaline junkies, like you're motivated by this, right? It's really fun for you. But for most of us, if this level of consciousness exists over time, like unchecked, what starts to happen is it causes us to get sick or really, really angry or to go into blame of some sort or to remove ourselves from scenarios of places and things that we used to love, right? It's definitely not life affirming, let me put it that way. So I'm certainly not suggesting that a trip to a haunted house is bad for you. But what I am trying to say is that if we live at that level of consciousness every single day, if we live in heightened anxiety on a day-to-day basis, what do you think the long-term impact of that is going to be? And so as a result, we've gotten to this place in our collective consciousness, and this is the part that we have to concern ourselves with. You know, there's a lot of data out there. People are throwing around the statistics around the illness and the death tolls and all of those sorts of things, all important numbers, but nobody's talking about the long-term global impacts of our collective consciousness. Because what we know for sure, and we've known from the beginning of time, and we 100% know in the Unity movement, is that what we think about expands, period. I'm going to say that again. What we think about expands. So we have to keep that in mind. In 2019, about 21% of the American population was diagnosed with some sort of a mental illness issue, 21%. And with all of the uncertainty and the challenges of the last couple of years, same statistics, and this is from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Systems Administration. And what they say is that by the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, the statistic now is 48%. Half of our population. Half of our population. So if you've been not feeling yourself lately, you are not alone, right? So cut yourself a little bit of well-deserved slack for that, all right? So when you think about what is happening here, social anxiety is like a mental health condition that was characterized as consistent and persistent beliefs that you are being watched and judged. Sound familiar? So that used to be considered a disorder. But I will tell you, there aren't too many people that I know today at all that aren't feeling this at some level for whatever reason. So we got to get out of the blame game. We got to get out of the shame game. We got to quit worrying about what everybody else is doing and start to take a look at the grass in our own backyard. So what I'm really going to talk to you about today really is that while there are so many things that we can do on a collective level, there's things that you can do on a personal and individual level as well that can really help to move you to a place where you can start to release some of this fear that this, quite frankly, wearing you out. So you may ask, so Cyndi, what do you suggest? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I do have some suggestions. I do think at minimum, there are like 4 things that we have to do in order for us to start to create a little bit of a shift in our own personal consciousness and start so that we can start to impact the people around us. What we know, those of you who are familiar with heart math, right? We've talked about heart math before, right? If not, look it up. It's an amazing organization. These are scientists, by the way, not just woo-woo stuff, but they can measure, when they put like little electrodes on your fingers and on your heart, and they can measure the energy around you, like at least 10 feet all the way around the circumference of your body. So put your arms out for just a minute and just swing them around. See how many people you hit. And that's not even anywhere close to 10 feet, is it? By the way, that's all they can measure. They think it's a lot further than that. That's just all they can measure right now. So as a result of that, what that says to us is that when we are around other people, we create a resonance field. Whatever it is that we are bringing to that resonance field dramatically impacts everybody within a 10-foot radius of us, which means like when we're all sitting in here in this sanctuary, synagogue, is it a sanctuary? Okay, it's a sanctuary today, right? So as we sit in there in this room together, or you're sitting there at home with your family or wherever you may be, it's like everybody in this room, all of our energy fields are overlapping and we're creating a resonance field. And so we have to make a decision that when people walk into our resonance field, are they going to want to get away as fast as they can? Or are they going to say, you know what, I'll have what she's having? Yeah. Because that is our responsibility in all of this. So here's the 4 things that I'm thinking of. First of all, the number one thing I would say is we've got to minimize the garbage in. We have to minimize garbage in. The statistic now are that by the time you become an adult person, they say 18 years old, which that's subjective, whether or not you're an adult yet, but at 18 years of age, the average person in the United States will take in 9 pieces of negative data for every 1 positive. Yeah, and I'm not telling you that to bum you out. I'm telling you that because you have 100% control over that. Deciding what it is that you are going to put in your cranium, okay, or the people that you're going to invite into your space. So we're going to talk about, number 1, minimizing garbage in. The second thing that we're going to do here is we're going to talk about getting mondo clear on what it is that you want your life to look like. And I don't mean, oh, wouldn't it be nice? But I mean getting super clear about that, right? And then number 3 is making a concerted effort to align the actions that you take with the beliefs that you have about what your life should look like. So once you get clear on your life, then you have to start taking action in accordance with that. And then quite frankly, you have to tell that new story. You know, once you decide what that is, then you have to start talking and behaving as if that were true. And I know that that's a lot easier said than it is done, but we have to talk about this because the number 1 core unity principle, what is it? Create your life with your thought. Okay, yeah. So I know that. I'm sorry. It's like taking back. Which I know you guys are used to having it on the wall in front of you. So number 1 core unity principle, we create our life by what we think about all the time. So if you are talking about and posting about and in honoring all your efforts to educate those less insightful, I understand, I hate to break it to you, but the only people listening are the people who already agree with you. Right? So let it go. Right? So the important thing we have to do here then is that we have to stop and start to take a look at what are some of the things that we want to keep bringing into our experience. Stop abusing yourself and everybody around you with data that we already know. And everybody already has a very strong opinion about. So it's not being helpful. It's actually what we're doing by keeping that in front of us all the time. We're actually propagating this. We're actually creating a scenario that causes us to continue to live through it over and over and over again. I've told this story before about Mother Teresa. That people would come to her all the time during the war, and they would say, we want you to participate in our anti-war rally. And she's like, nope, not going to do it. She's like, we need you at our anti-war rally. No. She said, when you have a peace rally, then call me. It's like, it's not that we don't want to manage the problems that are in front of us. It's not that we don't need to get to solutions, but we have to focus on the solution. The problems are old news. Like, we know what they are. So that's one of the first things that we have to talk about. Whatever you're thinking about consistently is like planning a future event. So when you are worrying, you're planning. When you are appreciating, you're planning. When you are blaming, you are planning. We're planning a future event. Brené Brown goes as far as to say that we actually dress rehearse tragedy.
Oh.
Especially when things are going really, really good for us. You ever do that? It's like, things are pretty good right now, so something must be lurking around the corner. It's like going through the spook house. It's been quiet for a couple of seconds. I'm about to get pounced on, you know? And so that's the way we live constantly in this heightened state of fear and awareness. So one of the things you've heard me talk about a lot is the confirmation bias, which in essence means that we seek out evidence to support what we already believe to be true. All of you, I know you have a lot of psychologists in the room, you know that. So, and as a result of that, and I'll give you an example too, like, is anybody familiar with the Netflix documentary, The Social Dilemma? If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's really, really good. And the reason it's really powerful is it talks about how a lot of the media platforms are harnessing the weaknesses of the population, basically our fear, right? Harnessing our fear, and that there's actually an algorithm that allows them to be able to take a look at what you look at, how long you're looking at it, whether or not you respond to it, all of those things. And there's proof that they're actually feeding you only the data that supports what you've had an emotional reaction to and or supports a political or a financial narrative of some kind. Now, that's not a conspiracy theory. That's a fact, right? In fact, it's not a conspiracy. It's good business. Right? It's good business. So that's what they do. But the only problem is, yeah, technically you can do that. It's perfectly legal to do that. But it's just like any other large business, which in essence means that the larger businesses who have the financial resources can control whatever that global communication stream is going to be. Right? So don't take step too seriously. I came into the workforce in the field of journalism. I actually did the news for a brief time. And so what I learned within the first 6 months of being in that industry is that what actually makes it to the public is not necessarily an accurate portrayal of what's going on in the world. Because a lot of the stuff that allows you to feel good or gives you the opportunity to be a free thinker, that stuff ends up on the cutting room floor. So I left that industry within 6 months after getting my degree. And this isn't new information. And it's even worse now, right? Because everyone has access to be the media. Like, we can all be the media and people will believe whatever it is that we say. So it's not that different, though, than what's transpiring in your mind right now, which is as you play these loops over and over and over again, at some point, we don't even know what's true anymore. We're so busy playing these loops that we don't stop and really assess it for accuracy and just say, what's really going on here? And more importantly, what can I do about it? What can I do to minimize damage in this scenario? And what can I do to maximize the chances that I get what I need in this situation? And so those are things that we really aren't doing very well. So part of what the social dilemma talks about is talking about that if we are looking for external factors or external mediums of communication to determine how we're feeling about something, they'll always give you a reason to feel a certain way. So as a result of that, we have to just keep in mind, and the goal here is not to like fight the man, right? That's not what we're looking for here. My point is for you to not allow anything external, anyone or anything to take ownership of your emotional sovereignty. How you feel at any point in time is yours. You own it. In fact, you have a responsibility to own it because you're in the same space with me, right? You are sharing your resonance with people in your family and people that you work with and people that you engage with and people you stand in line with at the grocery store. So that's what I mean about the collective consciousness. We have to be looking at those things. We still spend 80% of our time thinking about what we don't want, and we can't figure out why it won't go away. What's unity principle number one? We create our lives through our thinking. What we think about expands. So we know that for sure. And by the way, this isn't a unity thing, right? This was proven many, many times by a number of different studies. Dennis Waitley was doing this with Olympic athletes back in the 80s. This is not new information. Aristotle was doing this. It's not new information, right? But if we can learn to practice that as we move through it, and there are countless ways to do that, whether it's through visioning, whether it's mental visioning, whether it's writing things down, however it is you go about it, there's a lot of ways to do it. So this is where we start to get really mondo clear on what it is that we want to have as our experience in our life. So my first choice is to write everything down, because I think then you can really get uber clear on the details of your life and what you want it to look like. One of the things I do when I work with a coaching client is I have them say, you know what, let's just assume that I haven't seen you in a year. And I run into you this time, or in this case, 2 years. So if I haven't seen you in 2 years, let's just say a year. And I run into you a year from now, I say, oh my gosh, Renee, tell me what's going on in your life right now. And so Renee tells me everything that's going on as if her life were exactly the way she would want it to be. Not that it's not already, but right? But exactly the way, what is your health like? What are your relationships like? What kind of work are you doing? Where do you live? Right? What are your friendships and relationships? So getting really clear on that. And then once I write it down, writing is a pretty linear process. So it's a good place to start. Then, because 70% of us are visual learners, then it's really important to be able to create some sort of a pictorial, whether it's digitally, or whether you do a vision board, or whether you just like cut a bunch of stuff out. But you have to be able to create a vision for that. So that's kind of the next step for that. Because what we know for sure is you can't just stop thinking about bad stuff. It's like, don't think about pink elephants. You can't do it. You have to replace it with something else. And so our job then is to figure out, what are we going to replace it with? So we use visioning as that particular type of an exercise. And more importantly, because we've minimized garbage in, right? We've stopped looking at the media every 3 minutes. We've stopped scrolling our feed. I want you to seek out positive people. And I want you to redirect conversations that are not productive. You know who those people are, right? And it may be people that you can't get away from. If that's the case, just say, yeah, I understand that, and then just move on to another topic. So we have a responsibility to do those sorts of things, all right? Break from the media if you can. Number 3, make sure that you are putting more productive stuff in. So it's one thing to take the bad stuff out, you got to replace it with something else. So think about, I want you to just kind of take a non-judgmental inventory of how you're spending your time. Like, what are you reading? What are you watching? Who are you talking to? What are you talking about? Where are you going? Where are you not going because you're afraid to go there? I want you to think of all of those things and really start to think about, like, how am I impacting my experience here? Find a new podcast. Find a musical artist on Spotify. Meg Ryan has CDs, right? That you can purchase. Brian Dozer does a little thing on Facebook that I listen to. It's right. He's like, he does this children's program, by the way. And so I'll write a little note. I'll say, hey, can you play House Poo Corner? And he's like, why are you on this? This is a children's program. I don't know. Because I miss you. Okay. So there's lots of great things happening out there. You just have to seek those things out, right? And so, and when it comes to quite essence, it's like in anything. Anytime we're focused on anything that makes us feel really bad, we're just going to continue to attract those things into our experience. We're going to attract people into our lives. We're going to attract news that we don't want to hear. So we really do have to take a proactive role in all of that. Let your subconscious work for you instead of against you. And the best way to do that is that right before you go to bed at night, the 5 minutes before you go into REM sleep is the most powerful time for your subconscious. So if you are reading your news feed or watching Zombie Apocalypse or whatever else is on late at night, stop that. and just find a sleep meditation or something that makes you laugh or something before you go to bed at night. Have a conversation with your loved one before you close your eyes. But do something, because whatever it is that you go to sleep with, your subconscious will literally gestate on all night long while you're asleep. That's why if you ever you wake up in the morning and you have like that feeling in the pit of your stomach like something's wrong and you don't know what it is, that's what it is. It's because you went to bed thinking about something that was less than life affirming. So we're going to think about that. All right. One of the quickest ways, by the way, my mother was bipolar and she's doing amazingly well now, but I remember when I was young and we would talk to her psych doctors and they basically said, one of the quickest ways to move someone out of depression and anxiety is to get them focused on something other than themselves. So try to figure out ways in which you can provide, to ask yourself, what are your gifts and talents, right? How can you help? Who can I engage with that could use what I have to bring to the table, like what my gifts are? And so constantly being in that state of bringing new things to the experience. And then finally, you just have to start telling a different story. You've got to start telling a different story about, not just about you, but about what's possible for the planet. A lot of us have lost a lot of faith in our country, in our leadership, and the people we know. We're like, I don't even know you anymore. Does anybody feel that way about people? Like, I love you so much and I can't talk to you now, right? And so we've lost so much of our faith. When I was listening to them, this beautiful choir sing this morning, this group was talking about, there are a lot of things around creating faith and maintaining your faith and understanding. And I'm not just talking about faith in God, I'm talking about faith in humanity, because you are God. There is not a separation between the two. So if you lose faith in the people around you, you've lost faith in the larger picture, and that is a terrifying place to be. So we have to be able to step back, and we have to look for the good. We have to find it in each other. But the first thing we have to do is we have to find it in ourselves, because the quickest way for us to impact the collective consciousness is for us to get a handle on our own stuff, for us to really start to think a new thought, for us to tell a new story about what's possible for us, and for us to impact what it is that we are taking in and putting out. So, and it's really natural, by the way, for us to feel nervous when we're trying new things, especially right now, especially when people are accustomed to us, like, going down this dark path with them. To be able to, it makes us nervous to be able to have to stop and say, you know what, I just can't do that anymore. I'm not going to have this conversation right now. And so we are so in the position of worrying about the judgment that we've learned to let other people impact how we show up, whether or not we speak our own truth. And you don't have to make any pronouncements about any shifts that you're making. You don't have to post it on social media. Just simply be at peace with the decisions that you're making. Live your life. See who comes with you. Because I promise you, if you start putting out less of the vibe that you're sucking the life out of people, because we all are. I mean, seriously, we all are. Every time we have those conversations, people leave their interaction with us exhausted. Exhausted. And so all of this stuff that we're feeding ourselves with, what happens is our consciousness becomes, it's kind of like pouring concrete, right? Our consciousness becomes this mold. And whatever we think of over and over and over again, it starts to fit into this mold. And eventually everything we say and do has to fit into that mold. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't resonate with us anymore. And so as a result of that, not only are we exhausted, we're out of space in there. We can't stuff anything more into that mold, right? All right. So, and by the way, true, we can't please everyone. So keep that in mind too. So the origination of Halloween. Halloween was originated, quite honestly, to celebrate the saints, right? So that's how it was originated. And it came about this time of year, October 31st, because there is a belief that on October 31st, during that period of time, in that change of seasons, is when the veil is the thinnest between this world and the next. That's the belief, so that they're able to connect with their ancestors or with the dead. And so at the very least, if we are to take this Halloween event and just use this as an opportunity to reconnect with your non-physical support system, if it's really true that this is when the veil is the thinnest, then maybe you can hear the true voices, your guides, your angels, the archangels, your ancestors, to be able to stop and hear the voices of truth so that we can remember who each other are. I want you to commit this Hallows Eve to releasing any fears that you have that are not serving you anymore. Because it's time for somebody to start taking some responsibility for how people are thinking and feeling. And it's also important for us to recognize that through all of the challenges that we've been through over the last couple of years, doesn't change the capital T truth about who we are. We've just forgotten. We've forgotten who we are. So those of us who know for sure that we are collectively and individually imperfectly perfect. We proved that today. Perfectly perfect. We are wholly loved. We are united in truth. And if we could not only remember that, but get up every morning and act like it, then everything's going to be okay. Right. Thank you for having me here this morning. It's such a joy to be here. Thank you.
Time of meditation. So please take anything off of your laps and feel your feet on the floor and just being comfortable with your shoulders down. And remember that in surrender, sweet surrender, the Spirit lives, taking in all that you need to surrender. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. In sweet surrender, in sweet surrender. One more time. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. In sweet surrender, in sweet surrender.
And at the altar of love, you are safe. When we come to the altar with the gifts of our fears, and we place them on the altar for healing. Take a big deep breath through your nose to the count of 4, 2, 3, and 4, and hold it. And release very slowly. One more big deep breath through the nose. And this time when you release, I want you to just to sigh it out. Feel your shoulders drop. There you go. Because everything is okay. It's not going to be okay. It's already okay. As you sit up straight, your crown chakra points straight up. I'd like you to feel and see a beautiful violet laser light come down and enter your body through the crown chakra, the top of your head. And feel it very, just as if it were lavender smoke seeping into your body. Fills your head, down into your neck, quickly moves into your shoulders and your chest cavity, and simultaneously down your arms and into your fingers, as well as down into the trunk of your body. And as you feel this lavender smoke filled with golden light move through your body, it moves down through your belly and your hips, all the way down through your legs, your knees, your calves, your beautiful feet that walked you in here today, your toes.
This healing light is available to you at all times. And I just want you, in deep gratitude to whatever or whoever you believe in, to say thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you to Archangel Michael. Thank you to the universe. Whatever it is that gives you strength and faith and hope. Most of us came into unity because of the message of hope and the community of acceptance. So today, we're not only in receivership, we take that beautiful, fearless light and we let it extend beyond our body to where it envelops the people around us. It eventually fills the entire room. Fears exhibit themselves in a lot of different ways, in phobias, in illness, in anger. We release all of those symptoms, those manifestations that are not life-affirming. And we feel this beautiful lavender love and safety, knowing that it doesn't go away. And I'd like for you to just see at the crown of your head, to see the area where the light is coming through, to just close up that vessel so that you don't lose this light, so that it remains a part of you. And you ask yourself the question, what would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? And I invite you to do that thing today. Big deep breath through the nose. And release through your mouth. And I invite you to just to call out anybody that you feel needs the resonance field that's been created here today. The love and the light and the gift that you offer, so that we can share that with them. You can say it in your mind's eye, and you can say it out loud. We open this beautiful, safe resonance field to everyone who needs it right now. Not just those in illness and fear, but those in anger and hurt. Those who are stuck in the untruth. And we thank you, God, for our collective healing and our own emotional sovereignty. For this, we are grateful. As you feel comfortable to wiggle your fingers and toes and come back into the room.
All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. In sweet surrender, in sweet surrender. Everybody. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. In sweet surrender, in sweet surrender. One more time. All that I am,
Spirit. And now is the time that we go into our hearts and offer with love our tithes and offerings. So, do we have announcements first? No, the tithes and offerings first. So if you could take them in your hands, or if you energetically have, if you've already given, just hold that expression of giving. I give as and we say the tithes and offering blessing. All that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. And so we pass around the basket and we sing, I got everything I need to be happy. I got everything that I need to be happy. I got food, I got friends, I got my community, yeah, yeah. I got the birds in the morning and the sweet blue sky. Got my heartbeat song playing in my heart, oh my. I got everything that I need to be happy. I got everything that I need to be happy. If I got shoes, I don't, and I got a roof, well, I must have prosperity, yeah, yeah. And I got the birds in the morning and the sweet blue sky. Got my heartbeat songs singing my, oh my. I got everything that I need to be happy. I got nothing if I don't have myself. And if I'm not grateful for all God's graces, what good is money? What good is wealth? I got everything to be happy. I got love, I got laughter, I got what's left of my sanity. I got John on piano and Keith and I got Brian at the soundboard, and I got all of you and everybody on stream in this beautiful whole world lifted up in peace and harmony. I got everything that I need. I got everything that I need. I got everything that I need to be happy.
Join me in blessing these gifts, these offerings, and seeing them multiplying and going forth to do the work of this ministry and to bless our community, the wider unity movement. We're so grateful for everything that you give and everything that we receive. And so it is. Amen.
Amen.
Hello again. A few announcements. Next week, Tom Paolini will be our speaker, so please come and join us again. I'm sure he'll have a great message. And last week, we had a community meeting. It was recorded, and you can watch that community meeting if you go on our website, and also in our weekly newsletter, there was a link to watch it. So it's not on our public YouTube channel, but it is available. And if you have trouble finding it, feel free to email either Stan or Annabelle in the office, and they can make sure you get that link. And Nancy has something to announce about our 3rd annual holiday wreath auction.
Thank you, Michelle, and good morning, Unity, here and at home. I want to tell you that I'm heeding Keith's advice. He said, step up and do something. So I am stepping up. And Renee has donated space. I was a little concerned because we didn't have our office anymore. And so we're going to have a holiday wreath auction again. And I have a sign-up sheet to pass around for people to sign up if they would make a wreath. And it doesn't have to be a wreath. It can be a spray, it can be a kissing ball, it can be anything holiday decorative, any theme, any whatever. And last year there were some murmurings that it was late. And so I want to wind it all up by Thanksgiving so people have their wreaths to hang for the holiday, and that supplies were in short supply. So I'm giving people plenty of time. I don't have exact dates yet, but we have drop-off place with Renee. We'll take pictures, we'll post it online. There'll be time to pick things up, and we'll work that out. But I want to wind it up all before Thanksgiving, and I want you guys to sign up now. Watch The Conscious Connection for date details and other volunteers. I'll need people to help take pictures and post and do all the legwork. But we made $500 last year, and I have bigger and better things in mind, more and better. So here's the sign-up sheet. I already have a few people, so I'm looking for more. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Nancy. It's a great example of stepping up to serve this community, and what you give, you get back in spades, right? Serving, we have plenty of opportunities here to contribute, to help out setting up the service, to help out taking down after the service, things to help out with on Zoom, and when you do that, you get rewarded. And so do it in a spirit of community and excitement.
Who would we see to?
And you would talk to Stan the man. He's the one who is coordinating that. Also, we didn't mention during our offering time that if you wanted to text to give a donation, you just text the word give to 833-706-4337, and it's easy peasy. Also, we are setting up an email list for those of you who might Zoom every week, or those of you who Zoom intermittently. So again, you can email Stan at the office. What is your email, Stan? operations@unityontheriver.org, and he can get you set up with that on that email list. We just want to create a sense of community for our Zoomers. And I believe that's all the announcements for today. Oh, there's one more. Oh, wait, one more. The social justice team is doing a coat drive. Why don't you say a little bit more about this, Andrea?
Hi, we're partnering with the La Salette Faith Community in Topsfield. They're collecting for the Lazarus House in Lawrence for people in need warm winter coats and market basket gift cards. So if anybody's interested and wants to contribute, please bring it after church on the next 2 Sundays. That will be the last Sunday, will be the 14th. Or contact me. My email is in the newsletter. It's adowning0607@gmail.com. Thank you. Yep, it's for anyone in need, so all sizes, all ages, warm winter clothing, and warm winter coats in good condition, or market basket gift certificates for Thanksgiving dinners.
Thank you, Andrea. Okay, now I turn it back over to the music team.
gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing. Every little thing's gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smiled with the rising sun. Three little birds perched on my doorstep, singing sweet songs with melodies pure and true. Singing, this is my message to you. Don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing's gonna be alright.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing's gonna be alright.
Go in.
Don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing's gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing's gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile at the rising sun. Three little birds perched on my doorstep, singing sweet songs with melodies pure and true. Singing, this is my message to you. Don't worry about a thing.
It's already all right.
'Cause every little thing's gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing's gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing's gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing's gonna be alright.
Yeah, hallelujah. It's already all right. Thank you, Cyndi. Thank you.
Christopher Robin would have been good too.
Oh, well. How's that for a mantra, though? Don't worry about a thing. Every little thing is going to be all right. And when you heard it enough times today, it's already all right. Yeah.
It is already
Every
all
little thing
right.
is fine. Every little thing you're going to figure out is already all right. All right, so while you're up, let's close with our prayer for protection. So, as you feel comfortable, if you want to touch, touch. If you don't, just love on each other from a distance. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God protects us. The light of God protects. The power of God protects us. What is it about today?
Power of God.
We are the power of God. The presence of God protects. Let's start over. The light of God surrounds us.
The light of God surrounds
The love of God enfolds us.
The love of God enfolds
The power of God protects us.
The power of God
And the presence of God watches over us.
and the presence of God.
And we are imperfectly perfect.
We are absolutely.
And we are richly blessed.
We are richly blessed.
I love you all. Thank you for coming.
Let's sing the peace song together.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Go off and light
Happy
up
Sunday,
your world.
everybody.